Okay, so let's get right into it. There's this famous, kind of haunting line from the writer William Faulkner that you've probably heard bouncing around. And on the surface, it sounds simple, but the more you sit with it, the more it just gets under your skin. So, in this explainer, we're going to tear it apart and see what's really inside.
The past is never dead. It's not even past. See, Faulkner wasn't just throwing around pretty words here. He was trying to name something fundamental about being human. That feeling that we're making our own choices, but at the same time, we're acting out scripts written long before we were ever born.
So what does that really mean for us, in our everyday lives? This isn't just about memory. It's about how the past is literally living inside us, how history has a ton of unfinished business, and maybe, just maybe, how time isn't the straight line we think it is. Let's break it down.
First up, let's get personal. I mean, really personal. Forget about the big history books for a second, and just think about your own body. Because this is where the past really lives. Not as a story you tell, but as a physical thing.
And this is where things get really interesting. Faulkner's idea is that the most powerful memories aren't the ones we go looking for. No, they're the ones that ambush us, the ones that have just been lying there in wait, patiently, for years.
The novelist Marcel Proust, he built his whole masterpiece around this idea. He called it involuntary memory. It's that crazy moment when a simple taste or a smell just unlocks an entire forgotten world. The memory wasn't gone, your body was just holding on to it for you.
And then you've got Virginia Woolf, who takes it a step further. She says the past isn't even a separate time. It's a different pressure inside this very moment. It's a feeling, a sensation. You don't recall it, you literally feel it. The past isn't just a memory, it's a physical weight we carry around.
Oh, and I just love this metaphor from Haruki Murakami. It's not always some big dramatic flashback, right? Sometimes the past is just this quiet, parallel track running right alongside our lives. And then a little door opens, and you feel this other layer. It's not loud, but it is absolutely undeniable.
So here's the bottom line. Your body is an archive. Your conscious mind is all about progress, about moving forward. But your body, it holds the truth. It remembers in that sudden gut feeling of unease or that weird hesitation you just can't explain. It stores time, and it proves we never, ever really leave anything behind.
Okay, so if this is true for us as individuals, what happens when we zoom out to society as a whole? Well, the past doesn't just live in our bodies. It lives in the collective body of society. And this is where history stops being some dusty old story and becomes, what you see here, unfinished business.
So how exactly does history stick around? Well, first off, as the writer Toni Morrison argued, when suffering isn't given a name, it doesn't just vanish, it haunts us. Then James Baldwin pointed out that when we misname history, call theft progress, the past isn't over. It's actually recruiting for the future. And Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie warned us about the single story. Everything that gets left out of the official version becomes the painful lived reality for other people. And finally, as Alexander Solzhenitsyn showed us, when you bury the truth, it just breathes underground, waiting.
And that's the real gut punch here, isn't it? You can't claim history is over if its consequences are still running the show. If the past is still deciding who gets believed, whose voice matters, and who is forced to be silent, then that's not history. That's just the present wearing a very old mask.
Okay, so the past lives in our bodies, and it lives in our society. But what if the problem is even deeper than that? What if our whole basic understanding of time itself is just wrong?
So on one side, you've got the clock's time. It's neat, it's tidy, it's a straight line we use to organize our days. But on the other side, that's the mind's time. And as writers like Jorge Luis Borges saw it, it's a labyrinth. It's not about sequence, it's about intensity. We don't remember years of boring routine, but we go back to a single powerful moment again and again. Our minds don't travel down a road, they wander a maze of repetition.
So what this really means is that chronological time, the time on our clocks and calendars, it might just be a useful fiction. It's a story we tell ourselves to keep things organized, but it has almost nothing to do with the looping, layered, messy way we actually experience being alive.
And this is where it all gets really serious. Because if the past is always with us, then choosing to forget isn't just a passive act of moving on. It's an active, moral choice, and it has very, very real consequences.
Listen to how Primo Levi, a survivor of the Holocaust, puts it. So stark, forgetting is not neutral. It always takes a side. When we decide to forget an injustice, we are siding with the people who committed it. We're essentially asking the victims to disappear twice.
And this isn't just some philosophical idea. George Orwell warned us that this is a political weapon. When you erase the past, you give power a blank check to invent a new reality. Forgetting isn't about healing. It's about control.
So when you put it all together, you realize something pretty chilling. Silence is never empty. It isn't a void. It's a shelter, and it's built specifically to protect the people who benefit from everyone else forgetting. So if the past is never really past, and if forgetting is a moral failure, then what does it want from us? Why does it keep knocking on our door? This is about the path forward.
It's really interesting. All these brilliant thinkers pretty much agree on why the past comes back. And look, it's not for revenge. It's not here to punish us. It comes back for two big reasons: to testify to what actually happened and to demand that we find some meaning in it.
And this is what Faulkner was really getting at. The past isn't haunting us to be cruel. It's haunting us because its story isn't over. Its work is not yet done.
And it's not asking for our guilt. It's not even primarily asking for an apology or for punishment. In the end, it just asks for one single thing: recognition. That's it. To just stop looking away, to face it without excuses, and simply acknowledge the truth of what happened. To be able to say, this happened, this is part of who we are, and we are not going to let it be denied again. That, right there, that's when the past starts to loosen its grip. Because it's only when the past is truly seen that the present can finally become something new. So that leaves all of us with one last thought. The past, both our own and the one we all share, is asking for recognition. What part of yours is still waiting?